Hi, I'm Dane.
I'm Jackie.
And this is our review/reaction to episode 3 of Agent Carter Season 2.
All right, but before we get into it, spoiler warning.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the episode, go watch that and come back. If you're not caught up, go back and watch our other videos from last week, get caught up, and then come see us again.
There you go.
So, episode 3.
It was great. I loved it.
It was a little bit less action and more plot than what we've gotten used to. But it was still great. Howard's back. I know you're excited about that.
Yes, Howard is back. Yay. Dominic Cooper.
We see him first completely surrounded poolside by all these beautiful women like he does.
Well, no, they go to the movie set.
That's right.
They go to the movie set and they're filming like a really cheesy looking Western. And he's in his little director's cherry picker.
They need his help with... being, how do they say, male and pale.
male and pale.
And
so
also rich.
They need to infiltrate like the secret club of male and pale people.
Evil, not quite Hydra, but kind of Hydra people.
Yeah, they'll come up with a mythical creature name for it. I'm almost 100% positive that'll be a thing. Maybe not.
That scene where they infiltrate the club is so beautifully, perfectly Howard Stark.
It really is.
Because he just rolls into this men-only club with just
like
what do you call it? Like a gaggle.
Yeah, he has his like crew of models that he's basically using as a distraction, but like just his mannerism of like the guys like introducing, oh well, we have this here at the club and we have this. He's like, no,
but martini.
Yeah, it's been 5 minutes. Why don't I have my martini? Jarvis is like, I can go back to the bar and teach you how to make one.
And we do actually get to see Jarvis like, I can do this a little faster. Just give me. And then we see Howard getting into the science aspect.
No, I loved it. I love that because you're supposed to have these characters that have like multiple personalities, like they're multifaceted multi-layered characters. So he's not just, oh, I'm the playboy with all the money. Like obviously he's successful because he's really science minded, and the opportunity for him to science at something came up and he's really excited about it.
Just as a reminder, things are suddenly floating around Peggy. Way weird.
I don't know, it's way weird.
So it's a mystery, a science mystery that Howard needs to solve. And in doing so, they actually find Wilkes, Jason Wilkes, Dr. Jason Wilkes,
yes.
From the first 2 episodes that was presumed dead, but apparently he is just not stuck in some like parallel dimension, but was invisible, incorporeal something, but he's still alive, we're pretty sure. He has become a Force ghost. I don't know how that happened, but he and Howard are quickly becoming science bros.
They're like Tony and Bruce, like levels of like science bros, even though Wilkes is this weird non-corporeal being.
Dane actually had a really interesting theory while we were watching it. You want to explain your theory?
I will. I really enjoy trying to match the TV and movie characters to their Marvel comic book counterparts. The closest thing I can think of is, believe it or not, Wonder Man. If you're not familiar with Wonder Man, he is actually, he wouldn't necessarily be in this time period, but they've already,
they play with that a lot. Universe.
So like Wonder Man was like kind of like a competing company for something that Tony Stark, like Stark Industries did, and like something happens and there's like a buyout and he just gets really angry and like goes to AIM for like this project that they're doing and ends up getting basically like vaporized because of science fiction accident in a comic book. What?
That never happens.
It never happens. It happens to him and he's like presumed dead, but then he comes back as this being of pure ionic energy. So like it really kind of like made me think of that. I'm almost 100% positive that's not what it is, but it just reminded me of the Wonder Man thing.
Just one other thing I wanted to say about Jason Wilkes and Howard Stark working together though. I just really appreciated seeing how, remember, this is the 1940s and racism. Howard doesn't even give it a second thought the fact that Dr. Wilkes is a person of color, and they just get right into, no, we have science mysteries to figure out. Bro, let's do this.
And that's like, even and Peggy even like points out to, like, in one of her conversations to Wilkes, is like, you know, I'm very happy that you're alive, but also you managed to impress Howard Stark, which is nearly impossible to do because he has the attention span of like a rodent.
Because who's actually impressed him before?
Right.
Like Captain America and Peggy Carter.
That is a very short list. It is a short list of things that he finds fascinating. Those two and the Tesseract. Those are the only two. Those are the only things. No, and I do like that. I like that the characters are very progressive, but they still have a feel of being in that time period. Like, they bring it up, but they're not jerks about it.
In fact, Howard himself was the one who used the term male and pale.
Making fun of the gentleman's club that is the secret headquarters.
Yeah. It is a gentleman's club.
It's like the gentleman's club with literally only gentlemen.
But no ladies.
So we catch up with Whitney Frost, who was also caught in the explosion, and has this weird scar of zero matter here or here, I don't know where.
Which fortunately, I just want to point out, it's so great that hairstyles were what they were back then, because there's just this big curl.
She can cover it up and nobody thinks any different.
No one thinks twice.
So they were fleshing her out, Whitney Frost. They gave you a little bit of her, like, I'm an actress, but I'm sort of aging, and,
she's still beautiful, but she's no longer the young, pretty, fresh-faced actress in Hollywood.
She's the one that orchestrated the let's frame Wilkes as a communist, excuse me. That way people won't think twice about his death, and it'll give him like a reason why he was in the lab, and kind of like brush it under the rug.
We actually find out that not only did she orchestrate that, she is probably the brains of the whole operation at Isodyne.
Well, not probably.
She is.
It's confirmed that they say that this woman who is like the brains behind the Isodyne, like as a whole, is a different woman's name, but surprise, it's actually Whitney Frost who changed her name, and nobody thought any different of it. Agnes something. It was, we basically figure out that they're one and the same, but she's hiding in plain sight as an actress, and nobody thinks any different of it.
Because who would look twice, especially in the 40s?
So no, I like that, like, even, and and I'm not saying that like she's not the antagonist, but like they make an effort to flesh her out and give her story and give her motive. Like she's
still evil.
She's still evil, but like she has to manipulate the Calvin Chadwick, the senatorial candidate, into doing the things she wants to get done by like being a great actress. And oh no, what if Agent Carter exposes us? And,
we have to do something.
Totally real cry. I
would hate it if the council heard about this.
And that immediately snaps everything into. So she basically sticks Mr. Hunt, whose first name we're not sure of.
It's Mr. Hunt. That's probably not even his real name. He's just the assassin.
Frost convinces Calvin to like go and like stick him as the assassin on Agent Carter, which of course doesn't work. Surprise, Agent Carter can fend off an assassin.
But that actually leads us to a really great scene. It was really the only big action scene in the episode, but it was so perfect. She's beating on this punching bag and by the pool outside late at night, and she gets attacked. And of course, it's Agent Carter. She can fend for herself, but Jarvis, Judo Master Jarvis, comes out of nowhere and legitimately holds his own from a makeup and aesthetic point of view. Props to the makeup people for having a very realistic red mark on her neck
from the strangling,
from the attempted strangling.
Yeah, I like that you kind of pointed out that they were getting Peggy's wardrobe away from the strictly red, white, and blue like motif, but she still has a very specific color palette.
Bold colors. She always wears bold.
There's also a lot of light blue. Like she really likes light blue.
Yeah, she does do a lot of light blue. It shows that She will always remember Captain America. She will always honor him in some way, but she's sort of moving past. She's no longer in mourning, which is entirely appropriate given the fact that at the end of last season, she said her little goodbye. You know, she uncorked the vial of his blood and poured it out into the river and said, "Oh, goodbye, my love." Even her costume is showing how she's now moving on. And I think that's just another great little detail that the creators have thrown in there. And it's just great.
Another great thing about this episode is there were a number of winks and nods to other Marvel things.
So many.
There were a lot this episode.
Great.
There's usually you expect to see one or maybe two, because it obviously it harkens back to its source material. But she says a line word for word that she said in the first Avenger.
What was it?
It was, "I'm a very good judge of character."
That's right. When she goes to visit Howard Stark on set,
right,
he tells her that he's doing a movie based on a comic book. She says, "A film based on a comic book? That sounds like a terrible idea."
It was great.
Although I think my absolute favorite one of those little winks to the audience in this episode, what was it he was setting up? It was an alarm system.
Yeah, so after the attack, the attempted assassination, Howard has a security system put in their house to, fend off intruders. And it's Jarvis's voice going "You were not authorized to be here," in the most polite, British, non-threatening way possible. It was you're not authorized to be here. Agent Carter's basically mocking him for it. Ooh, so scary.
Terrifying,
terrifying.
Jarvis.
So he says, "I have no intention of spending the rest of time as a disembodied voice." Jarvis.
But he's Jarvis. And then he's Jarvis. And
So we can talk about the things that weren't there or things that we might have missed in this episode.
A lot of really great female side characters were missing. Rose wasn't in this episode. Anna Jarvis wasn't there. We don't see Violet, I believe was her name. Sousa's girlfriend.
Right.
She's mentioned.
But she's not there.
But we don't see her. And still no Angie.
She'll maybe one day she'll come back. I feel like she would guest spot.
Maybe Peggy's gonna use her to infiltrate somewhere in the Hollywood scene.
Maybe
because she's an actress, but Whitney Frost already knows Peggy's face. I mean, that'd be fun. Isn't that crazy if that exact thing happens now? Now it's on film.
I know, right? You called it. I'm gonna owe you something. There's one thing this show likes to do. It's remind you that they're in Hollywood a lot.
Sousa's shirts.
Sousa's collection of Hawaiian shirts is its own character, separate from him.
Just like Bernard the flamingo.
Who was also missing from this episode.
Oh, that's right. We had no Bernard.
No Bernard.
Is a very integral character. Sousa's Hawaiian shirts are also a very important character this season.
They like to remind you that Hollywood is where they are.
By the way, palm trees.
Palm trees. Shirts. Stock footage of studios from an aerial view.
Sunset Boulevard.
So there was a couple things missing, but obviously you can't have everything or you'd pull focus.
Yeah, you can't have everything in every episode. It was a really well put together episode.
The only question I have moving forward, because they always leave you on certain cliffhangers, is two things. One, is Red Foreman a bad guy?
Red Foreman from that 70s show playing, what was his name? Vernon Master. Yeah. The really sketchy FBI agent who is very clearly playing Jack Thompson.
He brings Thompson to the club, so obviously he has ties to them.
Right, and even before that, with all of his, hey, you should probably cover up that thing and just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, it's very clearly sketchy, which either means it's gonna obviously be a thing or something will happen where complete 180, I don't know.
Oh, he was really a double agent the whole time. Yeah, I don't think that's it though.
I think this is pretty clear, bad guy vibes. We're only 3 episodes into the season. There's only 10 episodes in the season? So we're a third of the way done. We've established a lot of information, but there's still so many characters with their own motivations and their own agenda. It's really hard to tell if there is even one person pulling all the strings. If I had to put my hand on somebody who was, I feel like the Vernon Master character is higher on the totem pole than Whitney Frost. I don't know if you agree, if she is higher on the totem pole than he is.
I mean, he has to be because male and pale, and that's how that
male and pale.
That's how that council works. But she is certainly more involved than anyone else gives her credit for, except for Peggy. There's an incident where she gets upset and she basically vaporizes or...
Zero matter does what it does to the other things. It basically like made it go away.
Just... We don't know where it went. We don't know what happened. It's just...
So she's got her own stuff going on, which... Obviously, that means, yes, she's a major player, and yes, she knows a lot, and yes, she has her own, like I said, agenda and motivations, but I don't know that I'm convinced that she's like the master plan person. I don't think she is.
So you mentioned Thompson earlier. He actually shows up at the LA office of the SSR, and he is obviously Vernon Master's little puppet. His little puppet. My question, do you think that he is going to pull his head out of his ass and stop getting in the way of Peggy's investigation? Or maybe he might go rogue. He might go dark side and actually join in on the council's plans. Far-fetched, but who knows? What do you think?
I mean, I hope not. This episode was very heavy on the, like, trying to convince you, like, he's being, he's the hard ass, like, no, this investigation is over. I have a reputation to uphold. And Peggy calls him out on his bullshit pretty harshly.
She used that moment that he confessed about in season 1. She threw that in his face. Well, it was cold.
She was pissed. And I would have been pissed too. If I was Peggy Carter. A boy can dream. But at the very end of the episode, he sees the newspaper that has the headline that Peggy saw
and told him
about that it was like they're orchestrating the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So he kind of see in his eyes like, wait a minute.
Oh, it's all true.
So hopefully that is enough to kick him out of this puppet stupor that he's in of trying to I just always felt like his motivations were really selfish, but if he does get his head out of his ass, he could be a really helpful ally to them.
But just for the sake of argument, because he's clearly worried about his career, that's why he's playing into this whole scheme that Masters is telling him to just cover it up and whatnot. Maybe if he's that worried about his career and his future after the SSR hypothetically disbands, maybe he might go the way of the council. I don't think so, but who knows?
He's moving in the direction of pulling his own head.
He's going to do the right thing. I think
out of his ass.
Yeah, I think he'll do the right thing.
It was a good episode, but it was really slower paced than the premiere because the premiere was like action-packed and giving you all this new information. This one was like way better at slowing things down and giving you individual characters' perspectives on things.
One other thing that I thought about after watching it was, so we have Masters, who is clearly involved somehow with the council's plot, and he now has custody over Dottie. Do you think we will see Dottie before the end of the season no longer in FBI custody? Do you think she's going to come back and start causing trouble? I kind of hope that Dottie comes back some point this season because she's just fun to watch, her and Peggy's little or interactions, rather.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm happy that Wilkes is not dead.
Yes.
So he's back.
Yay, Wilkes.
Actually, I'm also really pleased with how quickly Agent Carter is figuring things out. Like, she's... with very little to go on, she's pretty much cracking the cases wide open. Things I want to see more of. Bring back Bernard. I want more flamingo hijinks with Jarvis.
And his wife just standing in the window watching with her wine. I want more Anna Jarvis.
More Anna Jarvis.
Yeah.
More Edwin Jarvis. More Bernard Jarvis. That's right. I gave him the same last name. I don't even care.
It's actually was introduced as Bernard Stark, though.
Oh, fine. More Rose, because
Oh gosh, yes.
she's part of the whole Sousa pining for Carter thing.
She is the captain of the Sousa and Peggy ship. More Peggy throwing men against heavy objects until they fall down. More of all the stuff that we love anyway, please, just more.
That being said, we will be back in a week after episode 4 of Agent Carter Season 2.
We will be back to review and discuss the next episode, and we want to hear in the meantime if you guys had any thoughts, if you think we are just absolutely wrong about something.
And if we are, tell us why. Please. I love being corrected, because then I know for the future.
Or if you have any other theories or anything that we missed, let us know.
Definitely.
Leave them in the comments. And you can subscribe. It'll be somewhere down here. So we will see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.